Dear students, welcome to my English class. Today topic of discussion is 3 questions from class 12. 3 questions is a short story written by the eminent writer Leo Tolstoy. Lev Nikolovich Tolstoy, born in the year 1828 and died in the year 1910, is regarded as one of the greatest thinker and philosopher of the world. He is one of the well-known novelists in the history of world literature. His famous writing War and Peace and Anna Karenina, it is universally acknowledged that Leo Tolstoy was one of the greatest writers in the world. His works are example of realistic novels as well as philosophical novels. Lev Nikolovich Tolstoy is also considered a major religious and philosophic thinker, especially after his spiritual crisis he underwent, beginning with the deep depression in the year 1875. Characterized chiefly by his devotion to a close and literal reading of the Gospels of Christ, Tolstoy's religious convictions led him to a life of personal asceticism and social action that influenced Christian thinking around the world and has a major impact on the thoughts and works of such social activists as Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi in India and Jane Addams in the United States. The present text, a short story, 3 questions, is adapted from What Man Lived By and Other Tales, written by Leo Tolstoy in 1885, the publishing year 1885, What Man Lived By and Other Tales. This is a type of short story which is categorized as parable. Parable is a story within a story, that is, the religious teachers of ancient time tried to teach his students, disciples, and help them find out the questions asked by them by way of telling stories. Here is a story of a Tsar, Russian ruler. Leo Tolstoy is also a Russian writer. He was born in Russia, and so the Russian ruler, the Tsar, he had some question in his mind. His thought came into his mind. The 3 questions, which is the very title, the 3 questions appeared in the mind of the Tsar. And he tried to find out the answer to his questions by himself, but he failed. But he needed the proper answer to his questions in order to be successful in life. So the questions, what were the questions in his mind? The questions: what is the right time for every action? Who are the most necessary people? And what is the most important thing to do? What is the most important occupation in our life? The Tsar wanted to know the answer of these questions so that he can be successful in life everywhere. For this, he asked the nobleman, the learned man of his country, to come to answer these questions, and it was declared and announced lucrative awards will be given to the learned man who will give proper answer to the questions. So many people came to the Tsar's court to answer the questions, but it did not do anything, because the learned man gave funny answers. In reply to the first question, that is, what is the right time for every action, the learned man answered that the jar has to follow the proper routine, the timetable. He would have to live according to the routine and do the thing accordingly. Other declared that it was impossible to decide beforehand what is important. So Jar has to attend what is going on. And some others suggested that it is not possible for a single man to decide what is important to do. So you have to discuss with a group of people. So the Jar should keep a council of wise men to consult with them to do what to do. For the second question also, the learned man answered differently. That is, who are the most necessary people? For this question, the answers were different. Like some said that the priests are the important, some said the counselors are the important, some said the doctors are the important, and some said the warriors are the most necessary people. For the third question, as to what was the most important occupation or what is the most important thing to do, the answers were also different. Some said the most important thing in the world was that was needed by the Jar was his counselors. Some said the priests, some said the doctors, some said they are the warriors who are most necessary. So the various were the answers. This puzzled the Jar, and the Jar was not satisfied with the answer. So the reward was given to none, but the Jar is still eager to know what were the right answers to these questions, because he wanted to be successful in life. In order to know the correct answers or proper answers, the Jar decided to consult a hermit well known for his wisdom. The hermit lived in a wood alone, and he never met with the high profile people. He only entertained the common people. So the Jar, in disguise of a common man, went there to meet the hermit. When he reached there, he saw the hermit was digging the ground, feeling pity on the hermit's frail and weak look. The Jar helped him in his work and asked him why he came there, but the hermit did not give any answer to the Jar's query. After the day over, evening was approaching, the Jar decided to return home. Before returning, he wanted to ask again the hermit about the reply to the questions. At that time, one incident happened. The hermit noticed a man running out of the wood. The hermit drew the attention of the Jar to this. They saw a wounded man bleeding badly, came out of the wood and fainted. They both treated him and saved his life. The man revived. In the due course of, the Jar fell asleep as he was very tired due to his long journey and hard work. In the morning, he saw the man who was lying on the bed, looking at him in glistening eye. The Jar was surprised and he was quite unable to recognize him and memorize what happened to him. The man asked forgiveness of the Jar. To the Jar's surprise, after listening from his mouth the whole story that he was the sworn enemy of the Jar and he wanted to kill the Jar, but the Jar saved his life, and now he decided to serve the Jar as a slave with his son too. But the Jar was happy to make peace with his enemy so easily, and bidding farewell to him, he went to the porch in search of the hermit to know the answer to his questions. While reached the place where the hermit was sowing seeds, when he was asked about the answers, he replied, "You have already been answered." The Jar was quite surprised and wanted to know what he meant by that. Then the hermit explained from the two incidents of the previous day. And from these experiences, he narrated and explained the answer to his questions. That the right time of every action is the present time, that is now or present time, when we have some ability to do something, and the right place of action, right most important time, because the only time when someone has some power in his hand, that is the present time, and the most necessary man is he with whom the Jar is. So the most important man is he with whom you are now. And the most important thing to do is to serve the man with whom you are just now. The very important message is here, that because for that purpose alone man has, alone was man sent into this life. God has sent man to this universe with a purpose, to serve human being, to serve our neighbors, to do according to our ability. And present time is the most important time, because we have no control over our past or future. So we are powerful at present, in present time, so we have to do when we are able to do. We have to serve the man who is beside me. He is my companion, he is my family members, he is my neighbors. And we have to do for him or her. It is the most important thing in our life. And what should we do? We should serve man. Service to God is service to mankind is service to God, and serve God in man. That is the message. So it is a moral lesson, love and to be loved. Love and to be loved. Care and to be cared for. What Jesus said, I have given my life to thee. I have sacrificed my life to thee, to love the mankind, to give the message of love to you. So the story ends here with the answers to the questions of the jar which occurred to him in the beginning, and he was satisfied, and he became aware of the true knowledge and became successful in his life. So the story, 3 questions, is a parable giving us a teaching on the basis of Christianity. Thank you. Keep on studying and subscribe my channel to stay connected.